What's up, guys? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. I'm Tim Geddes, joined by the busiest lady in gaming. Is that what it is?
The busiest lady in the business.
Busiest lady in the business. Andrea Renee.
What's good, Tim?
A lot. I want to get some housekeeping out of the way real quick. Thing number one, I am congested as hell. So if I sound stupider than I normally do, which is already pretty stupid, I apologize, but that is the thing that I just want to get ahead of in the show. This episode is brought to you by MeUndies and eHarmony, but we'll get to that later. And also, the first 4 episodes of Kind of Funny MCU in review are live over on youtube.com/kindoffunny, including the Thor review that just went up this morning. Is it our favorite MCU movie so far? Probably not, but you'll have to go over there to find out. Andrea, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Tim. We got some exciting news to talk about. You and I haven't hosted together in a while.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I've never been allergic to anything, but I think I might be now. That's
how allergies work. They just come out of the blue.
And they just hit you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really hard for me to read long passages of writing, so it's a good thing I'm hosting this show today.
If you would like me to read anything, you just give me the high sign.
Too much, I will let you know. But my God, do we have a day for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We get together to talk about all the biggest news in video games, and today we got some damn atomic bombs going off. You can get this show on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to watch it live, or you can watch it at your leisure at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames when it gets posted later in the afternoon, or on podcast services around the globe if listening is more your style. And I appreciate that because there's a lot of you listeners out there, and you guys are listening real well. So keep that up, all right? Let's get right into the Roper Report, all right?
Let's do it.
What is and always will be the Roper Report. There you go, cool, Greg. It's time for some news. We have 3 news stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Let's start off with, honestly, what might be the biggest piece of video game news that's happened in years, I want to say.
Sure.
This is the type of thing that it reminds me of when Disney bought Star Wars.
Whoa. That was huge. That was earth-shattering news.
I think this is pretty earth-shattering. This could be paradigm shifting for the video game industry. Let's get into it. We can editorialize later. Xbox Game Pass expands to include all new first-party releases. This comes from Phil Spencer at MajorNelson.com. When we launched Xbox Game Pass in June 2017, we knew we wanted to craft a service with gamers in mind. That meant a diverse, expanding library of over 100 games and counting, matched with one monthly price and unlimited access to download and play full fidelity experiences. We've been blown away by the incredible response. Following launch, we heard from fans around the world who wanted Xbox Game Pass in their country. In September, we expanded globally, and Xbox Game Pass is now available to fans in 40 countries. We've continued to expand the catalog with new games added to the Xbox Game Pass library every month, so there's always something new to play. Today, we're excited to announce plans for a major expansion to Xbox Game Pass that underscores our commitment to deliver our fans the ultimate gaming subscription service. Moving forward, we plan to release all new Xbox One exclusive games from Microsoft Studios into Xbox Game Pass on the same date as their global release. This means that when Sea of Thieves launches on March 20th, it will be included in Xbox Game Pass to all members. This plan to bring new games timed with their global release into Xbox Game Pass not only includes titles like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, and Crackdown 3, but future unannounced games from Microsoft Studios, including new iterations of our biggest Xbox One exclusive franchises such as Halo, Forza, and Gears of War on the same day they launch. Our fans have also asked for more choice in the subscription offerings available for Xbox Game Pass. As part of today's library expansion, we're also pleased to announce that we're working closely with our retail partners such as GameStop to offer a 6-month Xbox Game Pass subscription card for those fans who look for a variety of ways to purchase and enjoy new games and services. The 6-month Xbox Game Pass subscription card will be available at select retail partners for $59.99 beginning March 20th. That whole part, I think, is the weirdest thing of it all, where it's like, why would people care to buy it?
Buy it 6 months at a time versus.
But you'd buy it 6 months at a time digitally if you're going to download it.
If it was going to be, I had to do the math and I was like, no, it's not. No, it's the same price if you buy it monthly or not.
Exact same price. So I don't know.
But Tim, yes, Phil Spencer, yes, Xbox. This is exactly what you needed to do. I'm so happy about this news. This is very exciting for people like me who loved their 360 but have had trouble really coming home to their Xbox One. And this is an amazing offering. I'm so glad that they decided to take a leap and do something as exciting as this.
Again, going back to what I was saying before I read the story, I truly believe this is paradigm shifting in terms of what Xbox is trying to do to the video game industry. Like this is not just a Netflix for video games. This is a movie pass for video games. This is a brand new, the titles that they are pushing, they are putting in front of people for $10 a month. Like that's the thing is like I'm a new adopter into the Xbox One family with the Xbox One X, and recently I've been like dabbling in the backwards compatibility and the Game Pass and being like, these are really cool services. I would never expect them to actually commit to this. Me and Greg have been talking a lot on the show about Sea of Thieves and how it's probably going to fail to find the audience that it needs to thrive and to continue going on. This totally changes that. You know, we talked about how Rocket League benefited from being part of the PlayStation Plus when it came out. And we're like, oh man, Sea of Thieves, how awesome would it be if they made Games with Gold have Sea of Thieves right from launch? And it's like, oh, but they wouldn't actually do that. This is kind of even better than that in a lot of ways. $10 a month getting you all of these games going forward. Like when you do the math on that, that's so easy to see the deal because
the value.
I mean, if you were to buy all of the Xbox One first party offerings in a year, I mean, the total $120 a year, that's 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we're also seeing in this announcement is Microsoft's and Xbox's realization that there's been a shift in the way that video game profits are being tallied these days. We've talked so much in the last year about microtransactions, talking about games as live services and how they really continue to develop communities long after the launch period. And Microsoft is saying, we see that. We see that writing on the wall. We're here. We want to make this program something that's future proof. And so when you take a major franchise like Gears of War and even seeing what they've done with it in the past, they don't necessarily need that $60 up front. What they want is to get you in the door and then say, hey, stick around and buy all of these cosmetic skins for your guns, buy these character skins that you want, buy these other kinds of upgradable packs and things. So they're saying, you know, we don't necessarily need that launch MSRP. What we want is you to continue to come back and keep spending throughout the year. I mean, and this is pure genius.
I mean, it's really hard to look at this and truly understand the business strategy of it from their side financially, because when you start adding things up, I don't think it really makes sense when you just look at it. But obviously they have people over there that are like, hey, this is the right call. Microsoft being behind, this is a Hail Mary of them just being like, you know what, we're going to push and we're going to do this. We've talked for years about when will the digital shift happen. And I don't think this is necessarily the shift, but this is definitely pushing people that were on the edge, people that were like, you know what, I like physical games. Maybe they'll finally move over and be like, no, I'm committing to this. And I think that it's them. There will be a lot of people that when Halo 5 comes out, pay the $10 that month, play it, beat it.
They're done.
Cancel their service, and that's it.
Right.
Those people are going to be not the bulk and majority of the people that are using
Definitely
the service.
not.
The majority will be people that sign up and are like, you know what? I'm just going to have this service indefinitely. And so Microsoft is now looking at their, not just individual games as games as service, but their games as a service. Going forward, having all of them be there day one. To me, this shows a couple things, and it opens up a couple interesting forks in the road of what does this mean for Microsoft's first-party offering? Does this mean they're going to diversify more and there will be more single-player games and mid-tier Hellblade-style games coming to the Xbox platform? Or does this mean they're going to further commit to more games as service style things and have it be more, hey, well, we got you in here. We're going to have you keep playing month after month so you never give up that subscription.
I certainly hope both, right? I think they need to diversify their platform and their offering for first party. We've been talking about that as well. I mean, clearly PlayStation is bringing the goods when it comes to first party exclusives, not only last year, but into 2018 and beyond when you look at their lineup. And Xbox just is not competing on that scale. Clearly, they have some things that they haven't announced yet, that they haven't talked about. You know, we've had some fun speculating on the show about what those things could be. But having this kind of an announcement to say, hey, we're really going to develop our community and make a commitment to investing in first party, and by doing that, you know, we're going to have this subscription service to make it so that way if you buy into Xbox Game Pass, like, we're going to bring you games and we're going to give you day and date access. That's huge. Obviously, there's a lot of questions surrounding doing this? Like, how far does that access go? Is it going to be timed for specific games? How long are the games going to stay on the platform? When are they going to be removed from the library? How do you figure in DLC and expansions? Are those also going to be included in Games Pass, or are you going to have to pay an extra fee for those, et cetera, et cetera?
That would make sense where that's where they'd make the money on that.
Yeah.
I mean, so far with Game Pass, from what I know, and let us know at kindoffunny.com/you're wrong if this is incorrect, but I mean, there are games that have been put on and then taken off in kind of a Netflix style, but that's more licensing. If these are all Microsoft owned and operated games, it's up to them if they leave or stay. I think there's more questions on what does this mean for the older Xbox One exclusive titles. Will we see more of those start to pop up? There's a lot of them already there, like Halo 5 and Gears of War 4, but what about Master Chief Collection and Ori and the Blind Forest and games like that? Like, is Xbox really going to look at it and be like, hey, we're going to try to take the Netflix and Movie Pass model for video games and push entirely on that? And going back to what I was saying earlier, does this mean more games as service? Does this mean more single player games? Or does this just mean we're going to get more of what we've seen from Xbox the last couple of years, which is not too many first party titles? And this is them kind of conceding that.
Well, I would hope that they're not conceding that. I hope that they will be able to take some of this influx in revenue and be able to go out and get more exclusives. They don't need to be these $150 million AAA experiences. I mean, they can be some smaller games, as you were talking about, this kind of middleware, or even like really like flagship indie games. Look at a game like Cuphead, for example, right? That's not like $100 million game, but it did really well for them. So I would love to see them explore more opportunities like that. I mean, obviously Idea at Xbox has had a lot of partnerships, but not necessarily a lot of exclusive titles. And I hope that, when you get a big chunk of the Xbox One install base into Game Pass, that it'll bring them enough money that they can bring some more games.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's a new way to look at the pros and cons of doing this type of business model. I mean, I remember when Netflix was coming up and it was the rental service where you send things out and whatever, and then they started the streaming service, and there was the two different ones, right? There was Netflix, and I forgot what it was called, Quickster or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember either.
But when they first started it, they separated, and then eventually like, you know what, we got to go back and combine and just really commit to the streaming thing. And it's like all of these new services, change is weird, and people can't really understand it when it first happens. And it's like, how does this make sense? How does this model make sense? And then now you look at it, and Netflix is ubiquitous. Like, everybody understands what streaming platforms are. It's going to change Microsoft's video games in so many ways, including the NPD. How that's going to drastically affect their place on the sales charts. Does that matter?
I think they've shown they don't care.
This is kind of just like a bomb where it's like, hey, fuck it. Like, this changes things, right?
They haven't released their Xbox One sales numbers for a very long time. I think they're holding their cards close to their chest to say, like, we don't need to tell you what our sales numbers are to be successful. Now, I don't know how internally that goes over with their shareholders, right? Like, I think, in a board meeting, it looks nice to be like, oh, we're the number one console in these territories or whatever. But I mean, I think if the dividends are there, they won't care. I would like to hear more about that question in particular, from somebody on the Xbox team to be like, do these numbers matter to your team?
I mean, even software wise, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the monthly NPD, like, they can't hide that stuff's that's out there. So it really is them just being like, you know what? I know this has been a thing that we've all looked at for since video games existed, but it's gone now, and we don't care about that because our main titles are going to be available to people. And I think that creates more of a tentpole scenario that we see a lot with things like Netflix, because when Arrested Development season 4 came out, everyone watched it that week. When House of Cards was coming out, that was the weekend activity people had, right? And I think that Sea of Thieves is now going to have a huge surge that it wouldn't necessarily have had. It would have had its user base, but now it has a bunch of people that are just interested, and that will be the water cooler thing to talk about for that month. And I feel like in the same way that Switch has kind of had a great first year of every month having a title that people can talk about and look forward to the next one, and as a group be like, we're all playing this together, this Xbox Game Pass, it totally creates the scenario where people are going to play games that they normally wouldn't have looked into.
Absolutely. I think it's a great example to talk about Sea of Thieves. You know, we've talked about this show. When I was talking with Greg, you know, we people in the comments kind of got on us for being like, oh, why are you guys so down on Sea of Thieves? And we're like, we're not. I think it looks like a very cool game. I like the premise. I've played it a couple of times. I'm going to be jumping into the beta later this week. But that game is not for everybody. And I think if you tell people, hey, you can try it for just $9.99, you know, versus buying it at retail, that completely changes the situation for people who were on the edge of, do I want to try this or do I want to save my money and try something else? And I think it's going to be great for games like that are maybe difficult to market, or maybe they're a franchise that are not as popular. Even games like that they have coming out, like State of Decay and Crackdown, which are obviously huge with the Xbox fan base, but for people who haven't traditionally played Xbox games, or maybe haven't been gaming as long for when those games were out previously, they're like, I've never played State of Decay. Maybe I'll check out State of Decay 2 for $9.99.
Yeah. And I think also when you look at the other services that Microsoft has in place with its backwards compatibility and its enhanced for Xbox One X programs, you can kind of start to see if they're dedicating this much with the new first-party games, how far back are they going to go with taking like classic 360 first-party titles, enhancing them for X, putting them out for free, quote unquote, with Game Pass. Like, they could have a monster on their hands of so many titles that people are going to want to pay. And $10 a month is a very enticing price point. Like, that is, like, earlier today, I was talking about it, and I was talking to Nick about it. I was like, yeah, it's $20 a month. And I looked at it's $10 a month. Like, that is insane that the next Halo game will be available for $10 a month.
Yeah, it's a little mind-boggling. I would love to hear what the breakdown is about for licensed games, because you hear all the time with other types of streaming services that IP holders, you know, sometimes have issues with the royalty agreement or the licensing, like splits between what the platform gets and what they get as the creator of the game. You hear from, particularly in the music business, how artists will say, like, please don't stream my game, please buy my album.
Yeah, fuck
or
Spotify,
excuse me, please don't stream my album. Yeah, like, buy it instead. And I have to imagine that game makers that aren't under the Xbox umbrella probably are going to feel the same way. Like, we don't want our game on a streaming platform. We want you to buy the game. So I don't know what the splits are going to be or how robust the third-party offering is going to be.
Well, I feel like we've already seen it, right? Like,
yeah.
The third-party offering, I don't think is going to get much more robust than what we've been seeing the previous year.
I don't know. I think it really depends on how many people are on the platform.
True.
You know, when we asked people to write in last week to tell us their experiences, it seemed to me that everybody who wrote in was very happy with their experience with Xbox Game Pass compared to people who are on PlayStation now. It seemed like
it's night and day. I mean, like I was saying, I just got the X and I just booted it up, and I am utterly shocked at the games that are available on Game Pass and also the backwards compatibility games that are available on Game Pass. I'm like, I didn't realize that the backwards compatibility also meant you can just pay and download original Xbox games. I thought you needed the disc, and I was like, that is a game changer to me as someone totally outside of the Xbox ecosystem. And I think all of these things are Microsoft's been so good in the past couple of years about the consumer experience and about gamers having quality of life, little bits here and there. And while Sony's been really focused on these quality, amazing first-party games, Xbox have been like, hey, we don't have that, so we need to focus on everything else. Let's have customizable controllers. Let's give them the Pro Controller. Let's give them the backwards compatibility. And it's just like all these little things are adding up, and they're all happening over here, and I wasn't paying attention, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that weren't, you know, because they are in this ecosystem or that ecosystem. And now when it's all kind of coming to a head where, like, I feel like this is the news that is going to convince a lot of people, you know what, this makes sense to jump into Xbox. This makes sense to invest in this platform because $10 a month is nothing to get all of this with all of the other things I just talked about.
Absolutely. Did you want to hear from some of these people who wrote in, or did you want to wait?
I do. But real quick, the last thing I want to say before we jump into there is we were talking about this in there. I think a big question that everyone has is, how is Xbox really going to make money from this? And I think it begins to become a bit easier to see when you start adding up the money that would have to go into this for it to work. It's not just the Xbox Game Pass that you're paying for. You're also paying for a yearly Xbox Live subscription.
Absolutely.
Xbox Live Gold. So once they have you, I mean, there's statistics to back it up that once you have people in, once you have their credit card, once you have them on a kind of monthly thing, they'll stay. They need to actively try to quit to leave. And you see, that's why people do the free trials all the time. They know that if they get you, there's a big chance that you'll be hooked.
Well, I mean, even if you did some like napkin math here, let's say hypothetically, there's 30 million Xbox One users in the world. There could be more. But let's just go with that number. Let's say just 10% of people who have an Xbox One decide, I'm going to try Xbox Game Pass just for 1 month. That's $10 times 3 million. That's $30 million for a single month of subscription fees. Now, I would guess that of that 10%, probably half is going to do it for more than 1 month. Probably more than half would do it for more than 1 month. So, like, let's go out on a limb and say they're going to do it for a full year. I mean, 30 million times 12, is like $360 million. I mean, that's a lot of generated revenue just from a subscription service. I mean, that's why subscription services are so popular, because they drive revenue because you don't use it all the time. And even when you're not using it, you're still paying for it because you've decided that the benefit when you want it is better to have it than when you don't. And obviously you can like cancel it and resub and cancel and resub, but most people aren't going to do that.
The schemers, the people that know what they're doing. And
or the people that are very, savvy and conscious about their budgets and are like, I can afford it this month, I can't this month. But most of us out there, once we set up our credit card payments, we got the automatic thing going, it just auto renews and we just set it and forget it, right? And that's how this is going to be a big revenue driver for them and how they can afford to put Halo on day and date Xbox One.
Talking about this, I'm just shocked that it's real. Like, this is so nuts. Let's get to some questions here, some reader mail. Chritain N wrote in about this story. With Microsoft announcing that all Microsoft published games will be available day one on Game Pass, we've seen yet another extremely pro-consumer move from Microsoft. These things are obviously happening because of Microsoft's place in the market right now, but I feel like once the cat's out of the bag, there's no going back. When the inevitable next generation of consoles hit, which presumably will act as a bit of a reset button in the current market shares, do you think these policies will stick? And more importantly, could you see Sony adopting some of these policies in order to compete? Clearly, Sony are comfortable, maybe too comfortable right now due to their massive lead, but Microsoft has been pushing an extremely consumer-friendly narrative for several years now and put words into action, which I can't help but feel will put Microsoft in an extremely strong position when the generation reset hits.
This is an interesting question. I don't think Sony is going to adopt these policies. I think that if they were going to do that, they maybe would have intimated that they were going to do that with PlayStation Now by offering some more standout titles sooner for more discounted prices, which we haven't really seen from PlayStation Now. And quite frankly, they don't need to. Their base is happy with their consoles. They're selling like gangbusters. They've got a great slate of games coming up. I don't think anybody is demanding PlayStation, you don't have enough games, which everyone has been demanding of Xbox. So Xbox needed to make a bold move like this to make themselves relevant with, in the console race. And I'm so glad that they did, but I don't see why PlayStation would give ground now. I mean, look at where they are with like the cross-platform issue. They're like, hey, we don't have to do this. Like, we know that the technology exists out there. Developers have shown that it exists, but they still are like, we don't have to because we don't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't see them giving now.
This morning when I first saw the news, when I saw a tweet, it was just the promotional image of it. And it was just like, Xbox Game Pass. And it was an image of State of Decay, Crackdown 3, and Sea of Thieves. And I was like, wow, that's insane. I can't believe they're doing this. And I was just like, this is brilliant move, whatever. Then when I read the press release and I saw that they were like, and also Gears and also Halo and also all this, I was like, and every first party title. That's when I was like, this is utterly insane because I feel like it's a little risky to be announcing that this far ahead for games that aren't even formally announced yet, because Microsoft's making a lot of claims. Like, they did their whole beyond generations and all that stuff. Like, and they've kind of had to go back from putting their foot in their mouth a couple times in this generation alone, with the way that they launched, with Kinect and with all of that. So them making these big, bold claims, it's important and they need to, but it is a little scary to kind of think about the longevity of it and what's actually going to happen. And with the question of the next generation, will they continue? I don't know. We'll see. If this works, I can see it working and everyone else is going to have to adapt or else you die, like Blockbuster, right? Like, it's that type of thing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then I can totally see Microsoft being like, hey, this gained us a lot, but now we're going back to a different model. They'll come up with whatever excuse they need to for it to make sense, and we'll move on. Will Sony adopt it? I'm with you. There's no reason yet. From a gamer perspective, it's like, please do. Like that sounds
it would be awesome.
Great. And you doing the napkin math on Microsoft, do the napkin math for Sony. It's even more,
It'd
right?
be double, yeah.
So that's insane, and it's a crazy proposition. But here's where we're entering the Wild West, where we just don't know what this looks like in the wild. We don't know what this actually means. If Xbox Game Pass comes out and blows up and kills it and does totally shift how games are made and thought of and put out from Microsoft's first party offerings and how it affects the third parties, yeah, you better believe that Sony's going to totally adopt it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Sony has a lineup of exclusive titles coming out that they can guarantee are going to sell millions of copies because they have that track record so far. They know when they put out X game, it's going to get 1 million. They know when they put out X game, it's going to get 8 million. Like, they just have this. And when you start doing that math, those numbers really add up. And that would be harder to kind of compare to the Xbox's smaller lineup and library of games coming out on a yearly basis. Having said that, everything argument we made about Xbox earlier with the binging and the water cooler moments and all that, I mean, imagine if for $10 a month you got every Sony exclusive. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, at some point, since we're doing some fun napkin math, if you take a game like
my favorite phrase right now. I'm all about it.
If you take a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, which sold just over, last time they published numbers was just over like 4 million. I have to imagine it's a little bit more now that the Game of the Year edition,
which is a huge hit,
came out, which is very successful. But when you think about how many PlayStation 4s exist in the world, that's just a fraction.
Mm-hmm.
But now imagine that like 10%, 25% of PlayStation 4 owners have a PlayStation Access type of thing where they're paying $10 a month, and then they all pay $10 a month to get Horizon instead. I have to go down the road where it's better to get more people at a lower price point than to get a few people at a higher price point. So it's like it's a fun thing to ponder about.
It definitely is, and business is a complicated thing, and there's a reason why PlayStation's on top and Microsoft's not. But it's big, bold moves like this that shake things up and change things, and bringing Nintendo into the conversation. There's been rumors forever about Virtual Console being like this whenever it does come in whatever form to the Switch. And
gosh, I hope so. I hope I don't have to buy everything over again.
They better. And with this being the news, it's like, if up until today, I was like, there's a chance Nintendo won't do that. But now I'm like, they got to. Like, if we're talking just older games, like, come on. Like, this is if Microsoft is making this big of a bet, Nintendo, you should too. So
I would love to see the other console makers follow suit. It would be great. It would be great for gamers. So hats off to you, Xbox and Microsoft, for doing this. I'm excited to see it in action, to see how successful it's going to be, and to see where we're at a year from today.
I hope it works. I hope that this totally changes how things go, because I only see good things coming from this. Next question that is about this comes from Adam Mott. Hey, Tim and Andrea. With the new initiative Microsoft is introducing to the Games Pass program, do you expect we will see a more premium version of Xbox Live Gold for consumers looking to subscribe to both services? I'm a film and media grad currently working at Best Buy while I intern at a degree, relevant job, and a lot of customers have been hesitant to try Games Pass as they see it as another subscription to manage. An Xbox Platinum or Diamond level sub could potentially push more casual gamers towards Games Pass if Microsoft were to sell physical codes in store. Thanks for always being kind of funny, Adam.
That sounds like a genius idea.
It does. I think that they start to reach the issue of sticker shock when you start selling on like a year basis, though, right? Because when you start adding up Xbox Live with a year of Games Pass, all of a sudden we're talking, how much is Xbox Live now? $50?
$60, $59.99, I believe.
Yeah, so then, you're reaching $180 a year. So you got to kind of look at that and be like, they're not going to put something out for $180. They'll probably do it a 3 month at a time thing, because that's a little bit more understandable. We
could see, especially around the holidays when pack-ins are so popular in marketing SKUs, like some kind of a deal where there's like a console bundle, like get your Xbox One X or your Xbox One S bundled with a year of Game Pass or bundled with a year of Xbox Live and Game Pass, and like,
oh my God,
and seeing like what does that price point look like?
See, but that's where I'm start thinking about it. I'm like, that's just way too high. Like, there's no way they can feasibly put that out and people aren't going to be like, are you kidding me? Like, it just, as much of a deal as they're going to get, it's still crazy.
It's possible, though, because the margins on software are much better than the margins on hardware. So if they're going to take a hit anywhere, taking a hit in the subscription service and being like, hey, we're going to, technically the cost for us is like, let's say $20 out of $100 like subscription price, so we can bring that price down quite a bit comfortably and not really lose money. We would just lose profit margin. So...
But I mean, I feel like they're already going to be losing so much based on
this is not like an ongoing price thing. This is like a once a year kind of price drop. I mean, because you can get deals on Xbox Live Gold throughout the year if you just keep your eye on sales.
Yeah, but I think that combining that with the Games Pass, with it offering all the first party titles.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
It gets crazy because, I mean, you think about it with Netflix. They don't, I mean, you can buy it a year at a time, but that's not what they push. They push the monthly $10 because that sounds a lot better than yearly $120,
That's true, but I don't see the deals on Netflix subscriptions the same way you see Xbox Live Gold passes sold. Like, I feel like you get those 3-month cards, those 6-month cards that are discounted quite frequently, sometimes even the 12-month ones that are discounted. Even me pulling up a random eBay or Google search, there's like 5 different things across the top that all have varying discounts on the Gold Pass, the physical cards that you buy. So... I think it could happen.
Man, exciting times. Next news story, another big one from the other side. God of War release date revealed.
Finally.
Now, normally we'd put this in new dates, but I feel like this is a big enough story.
Yeah, it deserves its own story.
Thing. This comes from the PlayStation blog, my dude, Cory Barlog. People of PlayStation the world over, God of War is launching April 20th, 2018. 420 plays up. I would like to write a long blog post here, but apparently I have a game to get done by 420, so I got to get back to work as soon as possible. First, let me say that this is my favorite release day of my entire career. If I live to be 100, I do not think I'll be able to top this release day. There's been a long journey just to reach this point, so it's a little bittersweet to think that we are only a few months away from that journey finally coming to an end. While I'm sad, I'm also excited because it means everyone will get their hands on this crazy adventure we have been crafting for nearly 5 years. Speaking of trailers, I just lost interest finding an elegant way to get here from the last paragraph, so I just went for it. That's just how I roll. I'm really ecstatic that I can finally show you this beautiful trailer we've been cooking up in the creative kitchens of Santa Monica Studios headquarters. It will give you more insight on why Kratos and Atreus are going on their journey, as well as provide a glimpse at some new bits of action. I love this trailer. After I saw it, I pre-ordered the game. Says the director of the game. So April 20th, 2018. Mark the date on your calendar, people. Clear that schedule. Tell your significant other they're wonderful, because that's always a nice thing to do. True. And then wonder what you will do with all that free time you have now you don't need to keep asking me when the release date is. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support of our game-making addiction. I'll do my best to keep sharing information as we head towards launch. But wait, there's more. I'm proud to share our limited collector's edition and deluxe edition, whose every component is connected back to the Norse universe and story of our game. There's various statues and knickknacks and cloth maps and stuff available in a bunch of different editions. You can find them on PlayStation Blog. There's a collector's edition for $130, a stonemason edition for $150, digital deluxe edition for $70. Pretty standard collector's stuff.
Yeah.
If you ask
Knickknacks.
me. Knickknacks, paddywhacks.
I agree that this trailer was the thing that finally invigorated me about this game.
Trailer. Damn good trailer.
It was an excellent trailer. Finally, we got a little bit more details about the story. We got to see more cutscenes. It wasn't just all combat. The graphics look great. The voice acting, I feel like we really got a nice meaty portion of it in this trailer versus some of the stuff that we've seen previously. It looks really good. I think we haven't gotten a release date up until now because maybe it was supposed to come out early 2018, as they said, and now it's coming out, Q2 instead, which is totally fine. Better for them to push it out a month or two than to rush it and not have it polished. I'm excited for this game. Previous God of War games haven't really blown my skirt up. I've played a couple of them, and the combat has always been really well done, and the set pieces so majestic. But there's just something about the overall narrative that I was just like, I can't get behind this guy. As we've talked about before, he's just not a likable character in the sense that so many other video game protagonists are. Mm-hmm. He's different, and I like that how in this what we've seen so far from Dad of War is that he's a different Kratos now than he has been in the previous games, and I like the direction that they're taking, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, where they go with this relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, let's jump to a question here. Javier Bonet Ruiz says, Tim and Andrea, finally, we have a release date for God of War, April 20th. Are you both excited for the game? I don't think I've heard Andrea's thoughts on this and whether or not she'll play it. So there's that. I'm very, very excited for it. I'm kind of in the same camp as you, where I love God of War for the big spectacle, crazy stuff. I think God of War 3, I didn't even play it. Alfredo played it. I just watched him play it, but I was like, this is cool. I love seeing this. And it was always more of a tech thing for me where I'm like, this is crazy that a console can do this.
Yeah.
But I never really got into it. There was something about the combat, and I don't really have too much of a problem with Kratos like Greg does, but I also don't love him. He's not one of the most memorable, but it's from a different time, right? There was Master Chief, so PlayStation needed this just badass guy, and that's kind of what Kratos is.
But Master Chief is a hero. Yeah. Kratos is a bad dude.
Yeah, but that it goes into it all, right? He's the God of War. God of War can't be a good dude, right?
I know.
But I agree that this is the game that I'm excited for it. And talking to Cory at the previous E3s, I love that it seems like he's grown, his team has grown, and this is the game that they want to make. It's not just another God of War like we kind of saw with Ascension. Mm-hmm. And it's been long enough. I feel like this is the right time for this game to hit, and I think that God of War resonates with a lot of the dude bros, but it's also a gamer's game, and I think that this iteration of it looks to kind of be the thing to meld those together a bit, and I think that I'm still hoping that we're getting a Super Bowl commercial for this, and I think Sony would be smart to put this game in front of that audience, because this is going to be obviously huge. It's going to sell millions of copies.
Absolutely.
April, a little later than we would expect it. Every other God of War came out in March, so I'm kind of shocked.
But it's good because there's not really a whole lot happening in April. So, they're really going to dominate that month, I think.
Oh, you're telling me Nintendo Labo coming out on the same day isn't going to fucking affect it? I know, totally different audience. I'm just
different audiences. I hope that your 6-year-old kids are not playing God of War.
Another question. James says, hey guys, obviously I'm here to write in about the God of War release date finally being confirmed. I'm hype, although disappointed it's not out in March. However, I wanted to ask, what do you guys think this means for Detroit and Spider-Man's release dates? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the popular prediction was Detroit in April or May, Spider-Man in June. When do you think those games will release now? And do you think God of War has possibly pushed them back? I don't think God of War pushed them back. I do think God of War, Sony knows what they're doing. They're not going to trample themselves. God of War coming out in April is definitely a twist to the calendars many people had in their minds. Does this mean we're not going to get any big exclusive Sony title January through March? Yeah, I guess so, right? This pushes, it doesn't push them back in terms of them getting delayed. I do think it pushes them back in terms of people's expectations. Absolutely.
If it's not announced now when we're here at the end of January, then I highly doubt we're going to get a surprise release date for Detroit in March. That's just not happening. Spider-Man's definitely not coming out Q1. I would say maybe late Q2 optimistically, but more realistically, if we haven't really heard much of a window yet, I'd say maybe look at August, look at September as release dates for Spider-Man potentially. I think that would be a really great time for them to launch. But who knows? We also have to talk about Days Gone. What is that game actually coming out this year? Is it not coming out this year? Are they going to push it and have it be too close to The Last of Us 2? Don't know.
From everything we've seen with E3 and all the interviews and stuff, the Sony guys have been talking about these lineup of games as being first half of 2018, with the exception of Days Gone. They haven't said that. So Days Gone, you can assume, is at least second half, if not later.
Yeah, holiday.
But looking at the games we have here, I guess we do have Shadow of the Colossus February 6th, and it is a big first party game, but it's different.
Yeah,
it's
not a remaster.
It's a remake, and it's I've been playing it. It's pretty damn cool. A lot of issues with that game, man. Oh, the controls, even the modern controls. I was playing it, I was like, do I need to change to the modern ones? And I went, I'm like, oh no, those are okay. Okay.
Well,
but still as magical as it ever was. But yeah, so they got that in February, and then there's a bunch of third party games, Monster Hunter World, things like that. I'm still saying Spider-Man in June. I think it makes sense. the games industry loves to put out big games during E3. And
Thanks, guys.
And I kind of imagine, we saw it with Arkham Knight. We saw it with Last of Us. I can see Spider-Man being in June. That is a little hopeful.
Yeah.
But I'm a hopeful guy.
Well, listen, Insomniac has been tweeting that they've been playing the game. So
yeah. And
it's got to be close.
From what we've seen of Spider-Man and from what we've seen of God of War, it's not that different. So like we've heard about God of War, and I mean we saw a bit more because it was the same E3. We saw Spider-Man and God of War for the first time, and we did see more God of War than we did of Spider-Man. But I think as times went on, God of War has been pretty like here's a little bit more of the same thing you already saw. And Spider-Man, we haven't seen much of, but we've seen gameplay. We've seen a real big demo of it. So,
but as I told Greg, I don't know anybody that's gotten hands-on with that game. That's concerning to me.
But do we know people that have went hands-on with God of War?
With God of War, it's been playable at a couple shows.
Has it?
Not to the public.
Let us know. I don't know. As far as I haven't been to shows since E3, and that's been a while, but I don't think it has.
Okay.
Let us know if anybody has inside information on that one.
Do we have any journalists, any media, any content creators that are watching the show right now that have had hands-on with God of War that you can talk about? Kindoffunny.com.
But I don't think so. And so then that leaves Detroit, and I don't know, man. Detroit's just such a weird game. It can come out in April or it could come out in September.
I have no idea how far along that game is.
I feel like
that game I have played,
April.
So yeah, that's playable.
Yes, that definitely is playable. That game is, you got to imagine, April is the goal. Or sorry, not April. May is the goal. Will it hit it? That's the type of game that could totally get delayed at any moment. But just today, Sony put out a big Japanese trailer with one of those weird rap commercials, where they do all the rap about the PlayStation's lineup and stuff like that. They're fun fucking trailers. I don't know. And it's a early 2018 look, and Detroit and God of War are both in it. So
April is not early 2018. They can't keep saying that.
Or first half 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it. Detroit May, Spider-Man June. Get hyped. Last story of the day, this comes from IGN. PubG dev donating up to $2 million to gaming charities. Player-unknown Battlegrounds developer PubG Corp plans to donate up to $2 million to video game-related charities this year, the studio announced today. The $2 million will be pulled from the sales of PubG's 2017 Gamescom Invitational crates, which contained exclusive cosmetic items. That's awesome. Let's take loot crates and use them for good.
Good job, PubG Corp.
The news follows PubG Corp's $100,000 donation to the Twitch PubG Winter Charity Invitational held in December 2017. In 2018, $300K will go towards the PubG Extra Life Charity Marathon, which will be held from January 29th through February 2nd in support of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Extra Life, now a decade old, is a charity organization that uses gaming marathons to raise funds for sick and injured children, which I'm sure you all know very well. PubG Corp will also match community donations at PubG LAN Tournament being held in conjunction with Gamers Outreach at Gamers for Giving 2018 on April 28th and 29th. Gamers Outreach provides equipment and software to help hospitalized children cope with treatment, while Gamers for Giving is a Michigan-based event that raises money for Gamers Outreach. Additionally, up to $1 million will be put towards other charities as part of a campaign that will occur later this year. We've made an impact in the gaming world over the past year, said lead PubG community manager Sammy King, and we're hoping to have even more of an effect on some outstanding charitable organizations in 2018.
Excellent story.
Excellent story.
I love
hearing, again, this is totally the good side of loot crates. This is them being like, hey, we have money. We're going to put it towards good, and we're going to put it towards good in the gaming community. Extra Life, obviously, we're big supporters of that. All these other foundations they're talking about, great. Let's support these people doing cool things and trying to make gamers of all shapes and sizes have a good time.
Absolutely.
Andrea?
Yes, Tim.
If I want to know what games are coming out, in the near future and when Spider-Man's coming out,
early 2018,
where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday. Tim, come on.
It's the best I got.
Yeah.
I feel like you added a do in there, but I liked it.
I gotta give a little twist.
Yeah, the yeah was good though. Out today, Subnautica on PC. Iconoclast on PS4, Vita, PC, and Mac. That game looks awesome. The Inpatient on PlayStation VR. I'm excited to play that. Have you played it yet?
I haven't, but Greg has been playing it.
I haven't been able to talk to him since he's played it because I was in LA.
Yeah, he was
so
under
I don't
embargo,
know.
but now he's
I
gone.
don't know if he likes it or not. Lost Sphere.
This
on
one, a lot of
PS4,
people are
Switch,
looking
and
forward
PC.
to.
A lot of people are saying,
Oh, no, really?
yeah, like all the reviews are pretty much saying it doesn't have an identity. It feels like too much nostalgia. And hey, this is a reference to this, but it doesn't really have its own thing. And
That
also
sucks.
is the worst spelled thing ever. God damn it, Square. Shoe coming to Switch. The Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human on PS4. I got the Inpatient again for some reason. I guess shout out to that, PSVR. OKKO, Let's Play Heroes on Xbox One and PS4. Assassin's Creed Origins, The Hidden Ones DLC.
Ooh, I'm excited for that one.
Overwatch Blizzard World Map, free DLC. And Batman, The Enemy Within, Episode 4. But Andrea, you have a couple more additions that I didn't have.
I added that one, but you already had that. But then there's also SOS is on Steam Early Access today. I got the chance to play this game a couple of weeks ago, and it's an interesting take on the Battle Royale genre. Do you know anything about this game?
No.
So it is a lot more like Hunger Games than Battle Royale or PubG in the sense that you kind of need to work with other people on the island in the beginning. You can lone wolf it if you're really strategic, but it's better and more fun if you team up with people. But essentially what it does is you have to use a headset with a microphone. You have to have some kind of microphone. And there's like this whole performance element to it where you get like these personality traits, and it really allows streamers to embody specific characters and really kind of improvise in a very performance way, which is fascinating for the people who are really into that, but it's going to be very difficult for anybody who's like, I don't want to talk to any of my teammates. I don't want to say anything in chat.
Well, I think it's cool that we were at a point where, especially with indie games exploding like they are and with Steam being what it is, where games that can just focus for streamers and focus on people that do want to do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that could exist alongside PUBG. If you don't want to talk, you don't want to, do any of that, there's Fortnite for you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm going to be intrigued to watch some key streamers and YouTubers in the community like go after this and see like how they embrace it. So one to keep your eye on, SOS.
Very cool. Now it's time for Reader Mail, brought to you by MeUndies and eHarmony. Let me tell you about MeUndies, Andrea.
Please do.
You want to look good with your significant other for this Valentine's Day? Then check out MeUndies Matching Pairs, a unique fun gift for you and your Valentine. They're the perfect balance of comfortable fit and exciting prints. Don't spend another Valentine's Day giving the same old gift. Check out MeUndies.com and find the best match for your match. God, I love that.
These limited edition V-Day prints are so cute.
I love them. So guess what? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I switched over entirely to MeUndies. They're fantastic. They're so soft. They have this crazy cool pouch that makes things look real good. I'm a big fan of them. I threw away all my other underwear. I was like, you know what? I give up.
Well, and for all the kind of honeys out there, Steimer has told me that she uses MeUndies and she loves them. So I'm like, maybe I got to get myself some.
They're very stylish. They feel great. They have this cool little purple band on the inside. I'm a big fan of purple. They have ones to go for every occasion. I subscribed to the Fun Pack, so they just send all these like fun random designs, and it's cool because one has a bunch of smileys. One has like Chucky Finster style space stuff. And I love it. Gia never knows what she's going to get. And it's fantastic for everybody. This is a no-brainer. Get 20% off matching undies for you and your significant other and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Order by February 5th for free standard shipping. You get it on Valentine's Day. It's a great gift. And then you're both happy and you both get great underwear. To get your 20% off your matching pairs with free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/games. That's MeUndies.com/games. Tell them Tim sent you. This will be the best Valentine's Day gift that you will give. Start matching your bottom half to your better half. Who's writing this? It's not me. I wish it was me.
So good.
Go to MeUndies.com/games right now. And now, eHarmony. Let me tell you about eHarmony. If you're trying online dating, chances are you've run into lazy text messages, dead-end conversations, and random matches that don't turn into dates. They are built to help you find lasting, meaningful relationships, so eHarmony is the way to go. It's not a shallow hookup site. They have helped over 1 million people find their perfect match. eHarmony uses years and years of science, data, and psychological research to send you the right matches. So you don't even need to like swipe through people and do all that. that you just fill out the form, tell them who you are, and they're like, you know what? Here's some people for you. Everyone here are kind of funny. We're all booed up, so we didn't need to, this isn't really applicable to us, but we wanted to get some real experience. So I hit up my friend Jess, and I was like, Jess, you want to use this eHarmony? She's like, you know what, Tim? I'm looking for love. I'll use eHarmony. Here's her experience so far. The sign-up process was super easy. They asked questions like, what 4 words would your friends use to describe you? And how important super relationship traits are for you. They send you suggested matches in your email, and it feels a lot more manageable than endlessly swiping on some other dating apps. So there you go. Stop waiting and start your journey to a satisfying, meaningful relationship. It can be fun to play around with online dating apps, but when you're really ready to fall in love with someone and have a meaningful relationship, there's one app that's built to bring you real love, eHarmony. Come see how eHarmony can change your life. Go to eHarmony.com and get started and enter code GAMES at checkout. Tell them Tim sent you. Let's see. Where do we want to start here? A lot of questions about Microsoft and God of War. Let's go to Winston. Is Monster Hunter World coming out at the perfect time? Seems like we're in a little bit of a drought and the rest of the big hitters aren't releasing yet. Feels like a smart move as long as the game is actually good. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally, right? Like, that's the short answer. I feel like it would have even benefited coming out a little bit earlier, like 2 weeks earlier, and it would have had a smooth month to just kind of own everything. It being on both Xbox and PlayStation is going to be huge for it. Mm-hmm. People love Monster Hunter. I really believe this is going to be the Monster Hunter that gets a lot of people in for the first time. It's a game that millions of people play, millions of people know, but there's millions of people that have heard of, and at this point it's been on systems maybe they haven't owned before, but now that it's like front and center on their system of choice, and it looks a little more modern, I think that a lot of people are going to use this as a jump on point, much like people used Persona 4 Golden as their jump on point to the Persona series.
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you just said. I think that Monster Hunter World is going to really also benefit from its online connectivity. Online games are incredibly popular right now, and if you have never played a Monster Hunter World game, or excuse me, you haven't ever played that, it's the first time it's been out. If you've never played Monster Hunter in the past, it can be very daunting. It is not an easy game by any stretch. It's, challenging and strategic, and it's meaty. You really got to sink a solid 15 to 20 hours in to get to the good part of the game, like with most giant Japanese games of this nature, or really just RPGs in general. So I think that, find yourself a Sherpa. Don't forget you can always write into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and put in your gamer tag or your PSN ID.
Squad up.
Exactly. So, I'm looking forward to playing this. Did you jump in the beta at all?
No, I've never played Monster Hunter. It doesn't seem like my type of game. I like my monster hunting to be of the pocket variety.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I know Andy's planning on giving it a shot, and he never has before. Greg's played a whole bunch of them before back on the PSP, so they're going to get into it. But yeah, it doesn't seem like my type of game. I don't like the big investments. They scare me.
Yeah.
Randy says, so there's rumors of a Perfect Dark remake happening. This was probably one of the first-person shooter games I played and have pretty fond memories of it. What are you guys' takes on this? Also, I have in mind the perfect candidate to be the new Joanna. She may be the busiest lady in the biz, but none other than Big Red herself.
I have heard this in the past. There's been several people that have reached out to me to be like, can you please cosplay as Joanna? And I was like, that would mean that I have to get a wig because I'm not cutting my hair and I don't like wearing wigs. And also, I don't know if I can pull off that bodysuit.
I'll be your Elvis if you needed it. But
well, now that you've put that on the table, it changes everything.
It'll be great. We did our predictions for Xbox in 2018 on Gamescast a couple weeks ago. I think last week. You can check that out on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We did an episode predicting Sony, Microsoft, and then Nintendo. I do think we're going to see Perfect Dark. This Xbox Game Pass news does kind of shake up a lot of my predictions because I don't know how much they're going to commit to putting more first-party titles out in 2018. I do think Perfect Dark will come back at some point. My gut tells me that it will be made by the Coalition. I don't know why I think that, but I believe it.
They need some other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Not that they're not working on whatever's next in the Gears franchise, but they're a pretty meaty-sized studio. It would be nice to see something else from them, unless we're going to get Gears 5 sometime in the next 2 years.
Yeah. I think Perfect Dark could make sense to give to them. Perfect Dark is a franchise that, was beloved back in the 64 era and then kind of, shit the bed at the Xbox 360's launch. And I don't think that that's the franchise's fault. I think that was just not a good game. And I totally think it's the type of game that has the name recognition that could at any point come back, like Tomb Raider. And
I don't know. Let me be clear. Are you equating Perfect Dark with name recognition with Tomb Raider?
No. I'm saying that it's similar in the sense that no amount of bad games can like really tarnish the title, and it's been long enough that Tomb Raider kind of came out. It had the games everyone loved. Then it put out a bunch of really, really bad games. And then it had some spinoffs that were good and people liked.
Yeah.
But there was a big break, and then they came back with the reboot, and now Tomb Raider means something totally different than what it used to. And I think what it is now is better than it ever was. And I think Perfect Dark can do that as well. Like, I think people have the memories of multiplayer and, loving the split screen on N64. But I think that it's been long enough since the 360 launched that Perfect Dark can come back. People know what Perfect Dark is. People know Joanna Dark. And I think that the new one can come out and be the definitive Perfect Dark experience.
I agree that the next entry in that franchise could be definitive for them. I think that they still have a long way to go to educate people about what that franchise is. Because while it did obviously have a core community of players, I think if you look at the wider landscape of where Xbox One players are today, even people who aren't playing on Xbox One, they may have never played Perfect Dark. There's like a lot of people who've never played Perfect Dark, but it would be a prime opportunity for Xbox to say, we're bringing back one of our old franchises and we're going to make it new again and put like a fresh coat of paint on it and do something really cool with it and make it awesome.
I kind of see them, if it were to come back, you're right, it's a different landscape than it used to be. I don't see this being a kind of huge Call of Duty-like multiplayer experience. No. I see them focusing on single player a lot, and I see them focusing on local multiplayer. And kind of, there will be online, of course. It's 2018 for Xbox, but I think that it will definitely be a tailored experience that's going to focus on the nostalgia, but also modernizing it in a way that's like, especially with Game Pass, where everybody could just have the game for $10. I think that there's a value there, and I do think that Perfect Dark can resonate nowadays. It just needs to be given the right type of care, and I think Coalition could give them that.
Indeed.
Unknown Source V1 says, Tim, now that we got you free from Greg, what do you think of the Kingdom Hearts rumors of Monsters Inc. and Frozen, and what would you want to see in Kingdom Hearts 3? I think Monsters Inc. will be in Frozen, will be in Kingdom Hearts, and Frozen definitely will. I imagine we'll see Frozen be announced at E3 with the release date of Kingdom Hearts.
You think we're finally going to get a release date?
If it doesn't happen this year, like, I don't even fucking know. Just throw my hands up. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, this game has to come out this year. Like, with where Square's at with their big main line, like, look at Kingdom Hearts, look at Final Fantasy. I'm shocked Final Fantasy 16 has not been announced.
I'm not. They've just announced that they're supporting Final Fantasy 15 this year.
When has that stopped Square in the past? Right?
Okay, that's fair.
Like, when Final Fantasy 10 came out, they're like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like, they would just go crazy. It's like, it's been so long, and we don't, like, Final Fantasy 16 isn't even a thing. And I'm shocked at that. That definitely shows a restraint we've never seen from them before. Does that mean that they're going to announce it and it's going to come out in a fairly timely fashion? Or does that mean that they're going to announce it and it'll be another 10 years? And where's Final Fantasy 7 Remake and all this? But Kingdom Hearts 3 is a real game that has been worked on for years. We've seen demo after demo. We've seen world after world. This game is real. This game had a playable demo with the prologue, whatever the fuck they called it. This game's coming in 2018.
It's like if you will it enough to happen, it could happen.
It has to. The only thing I can see is up to March 2019.
Like Q1 next year.
Because Kingdom Hearts I can see as a Q1
So
game.
like they announce it at E3 for holiday or fall
and
2018, and then they come in like October or September and are like, sorry guys, we need just a little bit more time. It's coming out February 2019.
I also wouldn't be surprised if they came out and just said February or March.
Yeah.
Like at E3. Just like gonna be real about this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they fucked up with Final Fantasy 15. Like, how can you make that announcement and then not hit it? I don't get it. God, it upsets me how upset I get about this.
You're not alone, Tim.
I want to find a good one to end on here. We're going kind of long. This is a good episode. I feel good about it.
Yes, indeed.
I'm going to go with BrockARock. What's good, Andrea and Tim? I want to start with saying sorry about your Vikings, Andrea. Would have been a great Super Bowl. Anyway, I know that, Andrea, you've been pushed to play Final Fantasy IX and was struggling through the first part and it not grabbing you. This made me think of a number of games that have been pushed onto me to play, yet also didn't grab me. Then you hear things like you just need to push through the beginning 1, 2, 3, 10 hours. Xenoblade 2, I'm looking at you, for it to get good. As an adult gamer, I found that this get-through mentality has been turning me off more and more. What do you think about the responsibility of games to grab their audience? Is this a case of just different tastes for different folks, or is it just overzealous fandom? Curious of both of your thoughts on this need to push through idea, and do you guys have games that fell in this category? I personally find it more and more unacceptable as I get older and my time is more valuable.
This is an ongoing concern for me and for people like you that have to play multiple games for our content and for what we do. I am still having trouble with Final Fantasy IX to the point that, you know, both Brittany and Alexa have been like, let me help you get through the first part and then we'll like push you out to sea on your own. But I'm struggling because it just feels really archaic in a number of ways. And like the updated version that I'm playing on the PS4 certainly plays okay. It's like, that's not the issue. This style of gameplay is just really hard for me to swallow. And I think it's less about overzealous fandom, as he puts it, and more about kind of different tastes for different folks. You know, like the idea that maybe this type of game is just not something that grabs me, just like Monster Hunter is not something that grabs you, just like Pokemon is not something that grabs me. You know, it's just like, that's just, everyone has different flavors of video games, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean the game is bad. It just means that, you know, you have to be willing to make a commitment in the beginning. And it's tough when it's a game that you love and that you really want to love, and then you're like 10 hours in and you're like, this is rough. Because that's how I felt. Right? Well, that's how I felt about Mass Effect Andromeda earlier this year, or excuse me, in 2017, was that the first couple hours were brutally bad.
Twilight Princess.
But I stuck with it because I was like, I love this franchise. I love BioWare as a studio. I know it's going to get better, and it did. And then it paid off, and I really enjoyed that game. That said, you know, that's tough, and I don't know what developers can do to prevent that, or how they could choose narrative differently. I don't want to see some of these amazing like 50, 60, 100-hour RPG experiences turn into YouTube videos where you have to grab them in the first 15 seconds or they're out, you know? Then like all the same gimmicks are going to be used across video games. I don't want that. I don't want them to change fundamentally the way that they're crafting these games. But I would like to see more people enjoy them, but I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, and you nailed how I feel about all this. It's just, I feel this is especially true for RPGs and these giant, like, 10-plus hour experiences. When you're dealing with less than 10 hours, that's kind of just the video game standard when you're looking at single-player campaigns, at least traditionally, for, like, a normal first-person shooter campaign or a action game or whatever it is. But with these RPGs, like the point is kind of having this drawn-out world and like really just sinking in, spending a lot of time in it. And that's a hard thing to sell to people because, I mean, it's hype. Anything has this. It's not just for video games. Like recently, I got into a discussion on the internet with somebody telling me about this anime called Geass, which is one of my favorite things of all time, any forms of media. And I equate it to Game of Thrones a lot in the sense that I fucking love both. And I think that they're just spectacular and just great storytelling. And he tweeted, and he was like, I'm 6 episodes in and I'm just not getting it. It's not clicking with me. And I did the thing where I'm like, just give it like 3 more episodes. Just watch it. It gets so good. And like, then we started having a real discussion where I'm like, man, like I'm doing the thing. Like I'm doing the thing that I hate when people do to me of like, just play the game for 10 hours and then it'll finally get good. Because I'm like, I don't have that time. And that's always the excuse I have. But I know that if I were to dedicate that time and push through, the person telling me that is probably right. They did have this experience. That doesn't mean I'm going to, because we might have different tastes. But having this anime experience made me realize that I believe it so much with the Code Geass argument where I'm like, no, I know. If you keep pushing through, all the bullshit will be worth it. I'm like, man, there's so much experiences I'm missing out on, like Xenoblade Chronicles and all this, because I'm not putting that time into, but people don't have time to watch and play and listen to everything, right? So pick and choose your battles and go into it. You going back and playing Final Fantasy IX for the first time, like you're doing that because there's people around you that absolutely love that game and it means so much to them. So no matter what, you're going in with a level of hype where you're just looking at this and you're like, I don't get what the big deal is. But it's like, that's inherent, right? And it's like, there's such a different frame of reference when you're playing the game. And that makes it a lot harder. I'm playing through Shadow of the Colossus remake right now. And I loved that game when it first came out. Playing it now, I'm like, man, this isn't Breath of the Wild. Things have changed. I don't know that I could recommend this game to people in the same way that I recommended it back in the day, in the same way that it's on my list of favorite games of all time. You know, it's like, it's a good time to be alive. There's a lot of good shit out there.
Indeed. I've used that word 3 times today. Sorry, guys.
Napkin math. Erick says, hey guys, I'm looking to squad up with some best friends on PS4 and Vita, looking to play Borderlands the pre-sequel and finally get my platinum trophy in Diablo 3 in my ever-going quest to beat Greg in his platinum trophies. My PSN is ErkSkirk. That's ErikSkirk. God, that's a lot of RKs in there, but good for you, dude. ErkSkirk. Andrea, you got them your wrongs pulled up?
Oh, I'm looking at them right now, Tim.
Oh, hit me with them.
The first one is an interesting one from Macromax. Here's a quick reason for why a 6-month game card exists at all retail partners. Speaking to the Xbox Game Pass, cash payments. With a physical card at a store like GameStop or Walmart, Microsoft can now let people, like children, access Game Pass who do not have access to debit or credit cards. It's a smart business strategy and a great way to expand new, previously inaccessible markets.
Very
also,
smart.
Good for gifting.
That is true.
Wrap it up,
very
put it
true.
in a gift card. Very nice. Lord Pone says 6 months of Xbox Game Pass is not the same price as 6 individual months. It's actually more expensive to buy a 6-month pass. $9.99 times 6 equals $59.94, which is less than $59.99. Stay cool. Stay in school, kids. Math, not meth. Okay, you got us there. But by the time you add in tax, depending on which state you live in, don't get me started. Okay. Capitalist Pig says, read the game's rotation on Game Pass. While games can come off the official list, if you have it downloaded onto your system, you get to keep playing it even if removed. From the official Xbox Game Pass FAQs, well, we'll say that 5 times fast. If I download the game, will it be deleted if it leaves Xbox Game Pass or my subscription expires? The answer, your space is your space. Games will not be deleted from your hard drive until you want them gone, even if they have rolled out of the Xbox Game Pass catalog. Thank you for that. That one's nothing. This one. Oh, from Wolf J4, Xbox is removing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and WWE 2K16 from Game Pass on January 31st, and will be adding Halo Wars 2 and Fable Anniversary, among others. I don't think you're wrong, just a side note. So if you want to download those, you should get on that. Also, PlayStation turned down EA Access, which is the Game Pass but for EA games, because they didn't feel it was good value. So I think that's indicative of potentially PlayStation not doing a subscription pass, as we discussed. PD wants to make a disclaimer here on what Capitalist Pig wrote to say, even though the game may be on your hard drive, you can't play it unless you resubscribe, buy digitally, buy the disc, etc., and put it in.
Makes sense.
So, let's see. Oh, interesting. Mattman94 says Xbox Live Gold is not required for Game Pass, only if you want to play a game online. So if it's a multiplayer game that has multiplayer functions.
Oh, that's so true. Because, Xbox Live Silver, you can still buy it and download stuff. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. That does change things a lot.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of their ability to make a lot of money.
I still think the majority of people who are buying Game Pass probably already are gold members.
I don't know.
Would be my guess. I would love to hear from the Kind of Funny best friends. We should get a poll going. Maybe we'll have Joey put a poll together about who has silver and who has gold.
But I feel the problem is like these people are the people that would have both. Like, I think that Games Pass is totally targeting the same people that walked into a GameStop and saw the PlayStation Vita with the built-in game library and were like, "Oh my God, this is a deal."
Do you? I think they're targeting like their already hardcore base.
I think it's definitely there's the pie chart, right? I'm sure there's a split, but I don't know. You got to imagine that the gateway drug, the $10, they're trying to get people in that aren't already there. Okay,
we'll do a couple polls. We'll do.
Put it on the poll.
Do you want Game Pass or no? And do you have silver or gold? We'll put it together. Charles J says, for PlayStation January through March, it's worth mentioning we are getting Ni no Kuni 2 in March.
True.
While not first party, it is console exclusive.
Yep.
That is a very good reminder. Breaking news from Lucid Dre 4M. David Jaffe announced his current project was canceled and Bartlett Jones was affected by layoffs. Guess you'll have to look into that for tomorrow. I'm not going to read your name because it's gross. but it says God of War, Spider-Man, and SOTC
Shadow of the Colossus
were announced to be first half of 2018 at the E3 they were announced at. Detroit had no date at that event, which they later said was because it was 2018, but not first half. I thought they dated Detroit at PSX. Detroit is the only game dated for second half of 2018. Days Gone has no release window.
Okay.
Might be too
good. You're wrong.
Might be too quick to get the you're wrong if there's a PSX trailer or something from Detroit. I don't remember. John of Legend says, oh, this is just about the dates too. Early 2018 equals January, February, March, April. Mid is May, June, July, August. Late is September, October, November, December. I don't know if I'd say that because video game companies operate on quarters, at least from everything that I've seen in my career, which would mean 4 quarters divided into 3 months, not 3 divided into 4 months. But, semantics there, I think. On the Hydra's back says, just pointing out Kingdom Hearts 3 has been confirmed for 2018 in the last trailer released, and Square has doubled down on that on their social media accounts. Okay. And I would just say a lot of games are confirmed and then get pushed.
Yeah.
It happens frequently these days.
It is the first time that Kingdom Hearts has put a time on it, though.
I think for the sanity of Tim and my dear friend Alexa Ray, I'd hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in 2018. PD says Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero are in rare replay, that compilation that came out, and Zero is on Game Pass too, so Xbox players can get familiar with them if they want to, if you guys have never played. And that's it.
Yay! I still want to know if God of War was playable anywhere, so we need to do some
Nobody wrote in, yeah. I'll ask around.
Yes.
Now that I've had some time to think on it, it's possible, but I could have swore that I've talked.
Let's figure it out. And we'll
I could have swore I've talked to some people that played.
You'll be back with me on Thursday. Tomorrow, it's me and Gary Witta for Witta Wednesdays. Until next time, I love you. Have a good day.